great day, wonderful day. So I'm back with my show, Neepam Jain Show. I'm Neepam Jain, and I'm here to transform people with various techniques which I've mastered over the years. Today with us we have Dr. Natalie. Now she is an amazing, amazing person who is bringing revolution all over the nation. She is a CEO of Bilingual Intuitive Transformation Mentor, International Executive Strategist. And she has been on various TV shows. She's hosting a TV show. She has been on radios. I mean, it's there's a long, long list. So she totally believes that we all are here for a reason and you're needed. Live your life your way and be you all you can be. So over to you, Dr. Natali, and please share your insight with all our viewers out here. Over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Nepal. I think what you're trying to create and what you're not trying to create, what you're creating and just expanding is so important because first and foremost, we're all one. And therefore, whatever you do in India, whatever I do in the United States, whatever friends does in Germany or Australia, it's all connected. So the energies are so connected. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for. I hope so. And that reminds me of what I want to talk about. And you did a beautiful introduction, because one of the things that I have found is that a lot of people exist. They exist and they don't live. And particularly, a lot of people don't live their lives. What they do is they live a life that has been prescribed, that somebody else said might be great for them, something that they might be good at. And so sooner or later, as we are having this human experience, we arrive at a point in our lives where we're going, what am I doing? And very often that point comes with pain, which is why I was so attracted by the title of your show and what you're doing. And let me dive a little bit into how I came to where I am.
Yes, we would love to know that.
Pain. It has to do with the pain. So when I was born, came out the womb, I knew I was going to be a teacher, period. But I was also already very intuitive. And as we all know, when you're intuitive, when you know or notice certain things that others don't, it sometimes can be a little scary.
Yes.
So I grew up like that. And then slowly but surely, because of the love of my family, because of influences from society, I scaled that back. I scaled that intuition back a little bit. And then I moved from Germany, my hometown, to the United States, and I met a gentleman, and we ended up getting married and all of that. Well, in the process of that marriage, my body started being affected. And what I mean by that is that I am generally a very healthy person. I mean, I take care of my body, I know my body, but the more I got into the society, the more that I was in this relationship, and he was not a bad guy. A lot of bad stuff happened, but he wasn't a bad guy. And so what happened is that there were days when I couldn't move, when my shoulders would hurt so much I couldn't move. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I went to acupuncture. I took some really, really strong painkillers. And then, you try and do all of it. And then suddenly, I remember I was laying in bed. I'm like, this is so crazy. Why am I feeling this pain? And the pain that manifested itself physically, of course, was all mental and psychological because the marriage wasn't working. It wasn't working. I was trying to live somebody else's life. And I'm not necessarily advocating divorce. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
But we're all own journey, right? We're all unique. So in that marriage then, because of my body, I started being redirected to me. And that is why I've understood that it's so important to be you. We all get lost sometimes. I mean, that's normal in society.
Yes.
But we're being called back to us. And usually it's our body telling us. So I'm also an energy healer. And for example, people who have issues with their knees, they can't walk or the knee hurts. Well, If you go into energy healing and spirituality and transformation, that usually means that there's an unresolved issue, something that you're holding back at. So it's not that you need necessarily, sometimes you do, but not necessarily a knee operation. Sometimes it's just you sitting down and talking with your knee and trying to figure out, what's going on here.
Okay.
And you'll get the answers. And that again doesn't mean that you sometimes don't need a doctor, but all of those things I was experiencing. And at that point, I realized that there was something in my head, something that I wasn't fully aware of. And it was social conditioning, the social conditioning that we're all exposed to by TV, especially as
Yes.
women. You
Yes.
know, what are we supposed to look like? Oh, a hairstyle.
Yes.
Seen me 4 years ago when I did like a major makeover. This is my regular hair, but I cut it and I shortened it and I straightened it, and it made sense. It made perfect sense for my business. And everybody who knew me and who really cared about me was like, okay, that's a little different. It worked for me. And now, after about 3.5, 4 years, I'm like, okay, back to my hair because everybody
Mm.
now knows me. So there was a purpose for that. But the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because there's a lot of stuff in our subconscious mind that has a lot of power over us. And very often we don't know which pieces have that power. And we relinquish power just because of daily routines,
Yes.
just because somebody suggests is really good. And so we need to get there, back there into the head. We need to figure out what is it. And it is easy, and we need some help while we're doing it. I figured it out because my body was in major pain. And I
Mm.
said, okay, what am I going to do here? And I looked around and took a lot of processing, and I started with a tiny step. And
Okay.
that's my first recommendation for everybody. If something hurts, or if you're feeling that sensation of, what am I doing? It's not necessary to take drastic options right away. It's really take time to be with you.
Okay.
And that can be in meditation, in prayer, over a cup of coffee, over a cup of tea, just looking out, whatever works, because we're all individuals.
Yes.
Started to get up earlier. I'm not a morning person, but I got up earlier every morning. And sometimes I would do yoga. Sometimes I would just have a coffee. Sometimes I would just sit there with my cat. But I made it a point to tune everything else out and just be with me.
Okay.
And because of that, I began to realize, okay, I need to make some changes. This is not my life. This is not healthy. I've been going through this marriage because I didn't want to feel like a failure.
Right.
And from there on, that very first and simple step helped me go outside. And I found a group that was doing something similar to me, that was all about intuition, about transformation.
Okay.
I also began to move out. And initially, my ex husband, he was very supportive. And even though we ended up splitting up, the work that I did on me and the way that I designed my processes for my clients helped me understand how good and beneficial this marriage was. Sounds
Okay.
kind of weird if you're thinking about some
Yes.
of the stuff that may have happened.
Exactly.
It is gratitude. Step number two, or action number two, that I want you to like take down, it's gratitude.
Okay.
Whenever something happens, there is a reason. I'm not saying that we're little robots or anything, but there's a reason because we're learning something. And so when somebody treats us a certain way, it might not be pretty, it might not be nice, we may feel a certain way about it, and we need to take a step back because it's all in here, and we
All
need to
in
say,
here.
right,
That
what
is
am I
true.
learning here?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so nowadays, even though we don't talk a lot, I'm so grateful for that experience with my ex husband because that process allowed me and forced me, if you want, to get back to me. And it forced me into analyzing and feeling what was going on so that I am the person I am today to a large degree because of that. And for that, I'm grateful, forever grateful. The other things we deal with, but that is, and once you're grateful, and this
It,
is why I'm really such a proponent of gratitude,
so it
it's,
made you find your own self. If that experience didn't happen in your life, you wouldn't be what you are today. So yes, gratitude.
and you know, the other piece is that nothing we ever learn or engage in is truly accomplished until we're grateful for it. I had to learn that because very often we hold on to stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why a lot of people are sick because they're holding on to stuff, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
arthritis, that is like holding on to stuff. So this holding on to stuff is not good for us. It doesn't hurt the other person or the other people or plural
Hmm.
or singular, but it hurts us. So we need to figure out, why is this happening? And
Yes.
it goes back to the subconscious mind. I always talk about that, and that's really where I love spending time, because that is where things that your mom said when you were 2 years old, things that you observed when you were four and a half, that's
It's
in there.
it's
And
there.
you don't know that it's in there, right? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And so
we think
you,
it's over. We think it's over.
and it's not, it's holding us back. It has us stuck, and it
Hmm.
has us acting a certain way, right? As an example, because I always like to give examples,
Yes.
certain words that have a very specific meaning to me, very specific. And I always joke, but one of them is cute.
Cute.
Now, when somebody calls me cute,
Hmm.
my alarm bells go off. What did you just call me? And I have to take a step back and understand where the person is coming from. My interpretation to the word cute has to do with my grandmother, who's long passed, and now that she's passed, we have a great relationship. But she always used to say, "Oh, you need to be a little more cute. Oh, that's not cute enough. Or you need," and I'm like, "I'm not a little baby doll." And
Yes.
so those are things that we also need to understand. Why do I react to words a certain way? That means we're all individuals. We're all unique. So, in my process of me reconnecting with myself, I had to relearn who I was. And I had to do that in privacy, sort of almost secluded. If you want to go to a monastery, great. If you want to go to a yoga retreat, great. I did it in my little living room. That's where I did it.
Hmm.
And so I got back to me, and I understood who I am. And in that process, I didn't just reconnect, but I learned to love myself again.
Okay.
And that to me is the most important thing that we often forget because we're being told we're egotistical, we're narcissistic, whatever it is. But it all starts here. And when you understand that you love yourself, you exude love as well. You also then begin to understand that you are unique. You have your different shades of colors. I don't like to say bad and good, but we have all different shades. We've done stuff that may not be so good. We've done stuff that was great, but it's all us. And everybody has that. And that means when we're now interacting with other people, whether it's brothers or sisters, clients, patients, we need to understand that person is also an individual. That person is also unique. So, who am I to tell you what's right for you?
Yes.
Just like I don't want you to tell me what's right for me.
Yes. And most of the time, I think half of our lives is we just spend telling people, correcting people. Is this the way we do and behave?
Yes, which works great for us, and which also is a societal norm. because where you're at, there are different societal norms than where I'm at or where I come from. And so this intercultural communication is crucial. And it all starts with self-love. I respect myself. So if I respect myself, I need to respect you.
Yes.
And if I know I'm an individual, I need to understand you're an individual. Neither one of us is better than the other. We may have different certificates and different credentials, but what does that really mean?
Yes.
In the end, we're all pieces of the same puzzle.
So true.
I
So
see life
true.
as a right? So
Yes.
the world, humanity is a puzzle.
Yes.
You're one puzzle, Nepan, because you reached out to me. And for some reason, right now, your puzzle piece and my puzzle piece, we fit perfectly in the overall scheme.
Right.
Awesome. You're unique, I'm unique. You're
Yes.
needed with your gifts, I'm needed with my gifts. And that goes for anybody who's listening. There's a reason why you're here. And the reason is not connected to how much money you have, make, give, or anything. Those are your unique talents. The pieces or the parts that are blocking your unique purpose and thereby your happiness and thereby cause you pain are back here. Very simple. I mean, I've
Right.
seen it, experienced it, and I've now helped thousands of people with it. It's here. It's something that you heard. It's something that by growing up you internalized and you gave your power, just like I used to do, to those things, those statements, those norms.
Right.
And so whenever you have a midlife crisis, and it doesn't have to be in the middle of your life,
Mm-hmm.
the midlife crisis is awesome because it is your reawakening. It is you saying, whoa,
Yes.
this there that I'm seeing over there, that's not me. What am I doing? So when you get to that midlife crisis, as I said before, go back within.
Mm.
You are important. So give yourself the time. And I know that's tough sometimes. I'm a mom. I run
Yes.
multiple businesses. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. I'm all those things. I volunteer a lot. And
Yes.
yet, from time to time, I have to say me.
Hmm.
Every day, I need to say me. So when I said earlier the example of when I realized I was in so much pain, I started making time for myself. That's really crucial. And
Okay.
once you implement that, your body and your mind and your soul will ask for it.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll come back to that in a second because it is important that you make that time for yourself. And sometimes that may mean that you tell your family, I need 10 minutes, and they'll get upset. And you'll just say, I'm sorry, I need 10 minutes. When you come out of your room or the bathroom or whatever you did for 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you are less stressed. And they will begin to look at you and go, whoa, why don't you take 10 minutes? Right? Because you
Right.
come out and you're clear. You can give much more.
Right.
So claiming that time is really important.
Okay.
When it comes to claiming that time, like I said before, whatever you do, when I moved out from my ex-husband, I started a more rigorous meditation
Okay.
program that I came up with myself. And like I said, meditation is really a word to me for spending time with yourself without distractions.
Okay.
Um, that might happen if you take a walk in nature. It might be a prayer, whatever it is for anybody. And initially, because we're all so busy, it's hard because you're
Yes.
like, oh, this happens, this happens, this happens. And I made it a point, regardless of whether I could really focus onto just being or not, I made it a point to still sit there from a certain point in time, 6 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. I would just sit there. I would not move,
Okay.
regardless of what else was happening. And then about 3, 4 weeks into that, I remember there was one day when I forgot time. I was just like, I was just doing stuff. I was happy. And my body began to lovingly shut down. It was like all of a sudden my body was like going, okay. And I'm like, what's going on?
Okay.
I looked at the clock
Right.
and it was so that communication with the body is really crucial. And I'm mentioning all of these things because when it comes to alchemizing pain, when it comes to holistic healing, it all
Yes.
goes.
Yes, it
We
all
have,
does.
yeah, and I mean, you know this. You're
Yes,
an expert.
yes. No,
No?
as you
So
do.
yes, but it's important that we all approach it in a certain way. I have
Yes,
two
yes.
sides. I'm a historian by trait with analysis. I'm intuitive and an energy healer. So
Right.
all of those things together.
So tell
And
me, this pain, does the pain which we have in our body, like in whichever form, maybe a trauma or a pain in the body somewhere, so is it something we have done wrong? I mean, is it something which, so what is the reason? I mean, like many people, they just give up. They do not want to explore it or sense the pain. They said, no, these are my karmas, and now I can't do anything. And people have their own weird excuses. Oh, I have to live with it. It's just the way it is. I can't do anything. So, is it something which we have done really wrong? Is that relate to that? Can you just give your little insight about this?
I think that's a fantastic question. And the easy answer is no, which is then
Okay.
followed by so no, we didn't do anything wrong because I don't believe in right or wrong. It is simply that somewhere along the line, we got lost. And we all do. I said that before. From time to time, we all just get lost a little bit. So we get lost. And when we get lost, we don't listen to our body. We don't listen to ourselves and our intuition. It is at those points when we get sick, when we feel
Okay.
pain. As
Okay.
an example, a headache.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why we have a headache. There's like too much going on. And sometimes the reason for a headache might simply be that it is too humid outside or that there's too much smog outside. But we need to
Hmm.
pay attention to that and then retreat from that situation.
Okay.
Okay? So it is not wrong, but it is something we need to address. And in that addressing, a headache is a simple, very,
Yes.
very simple example. But let's say you begin having arthritis or cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it is not, I personally, and this is me, I don't believe we get punished or anything like that. I do believe in karma in my own ways, however. Okay? I believe we always have a choice. Every day we have a choice. So if there is something like arthritis, if there's something like cancer, we know that people have healed themselves from it, very often with help, such as with energy healing. And energy healing is not just Reiki and all of those energy modalities. Energy is also in prayer and meditation.
Wow.
And energy is in your approach to life. Laughter has been proven to cure. So
Okay.
all of that is in the realm of energy. So when you feel that way, when you lose color in your skin, when you have arthritis, the questions have to be, what am I holding on to? And that's not good or bad. It is something that is unresolved. Very often, what I have found is that if I can't find it by myself, which nowadays I most likely can, but we always want to ask somebody for other insight, then maybe a Reiki session helps to draw it out. And then you
Hmm.
can better address it. Or if you don't believe in Reiki, which is perfectly fine, maybe see a counselor for one session or
Yeah.
ask a coach and say, there's something going on I don't understand. Very
Right.
often, all it takes one or two little comments, and then you address it, and guess what? It's going to go away.
Right.
Not necessarily overnight, not
Yeah,
overnight,
not
because
necessarily.
probably
Definitely, how
yeah,
deep the issue is, and the basic point which I understood what you said is like, go get a help. Don't just
yes,
ignore it. Acknowledge that you have something, and it has to be treated in a certain manner.
absolutely. And the treatment sometimes does include a medical doctor. Absolutely. okay? Especially if you're in pain. But when you're in pain, you also don't want to numb the pain because then you're ignoring it. So if you're taking too many pain medications, then you don't respond really to the pain itself. You're just numbing
Yes.
it. It's almost like drinking too much alcohol because you don't want to deal with the reality, right?
Right.
Um, one very fine example for healing and for medical advice is Ayurveda, because that takes you as an individual into account. And that is so crucial. It makes sure that it doesn't just prescribe something because you have one symptom, but it prescribes what is important to you as an individual. And that's where sometimes Western medicine has really neglected understanding that we're all unique. And so I think that that is really important to understand, that we need to listen, we need to address it, and after we've addressed it, there might still be some residual work to do, and then we move on. So the help, whether it's a medical doctor's advice, a coach, a counselor, an energy healer, all is very, very important. Sometimes a friend might help. And at the same time, I have to admit that in the work that I've done, um, as much as our friends love us, they know us the way we are, and
Yes.
they love us the way we are. So when we're growing and when we're adjusting, returning to ourselves, sometimes they may not understand right away. Therefore, I have found with myself and with most people that I have worked with that it's usually good to find an outsider from your current life to
Okay.
ask those questions to, because they're objective. They don't know you, they don't know what you've been
Yes.
through. So they can help you from a very different perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I
And
have a question over here, Doctor. When I was going through your bio and the website, there's this word which really triggered me: revolution, and that the way, the pattern. I mean, how did you come to this revolutionary thing? Can you just let me know how do you think that it's a revolution which you are creating in the world, or how you help people through that?
I did actually not come up with the term revolution. It was
Okay.
actually a radio interviewer who came up with that.
Okay.
But it was like the last question in an interview, and the person asked me after we had talked for about 20 minutes. She said, "So, do you consider yourself revolutionary?" And I was sitting there, and it was actually in this chair, and I was like, "What do you mean?" Um, and then it dawned on me. You got those flashback moments. It's like my life started flashing in front of me. I'm like, whoa, I've done this, I've done this. Like a lot of what I have done was not against the rules, but always bending them a little bit.
Okay.
So, as an example, I have a PhD in history, and of course, I've taught history for a long time, but certainly not in the conventional way. Never.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm always focused on the individual and transferring skills. As a coach or mentor or consultant, I'm not trying to have you be dependent on me, which is what a lot of coaches do. I want to give you the skills and then you move on. I want to put myself out of
What are the
business.
skills you give to your people? I mean, people who come for the kind of change, looking for change. What are the three basic skills, the tools which you can just give it to our viewers and the listeners out here?
So the three main skills I would say are being able to to respect yourself. So steps towards that, and it starts with taking time, and I gave that away already. Take time for
Yes.
yourself, reconnect with yourself. Secondly, build that relationship with yourself. Once you build that relationship with yourself, you will understand your purpose. And the purpose is crucial. It's not the end to all, but it's based on our gifts. So I help you figure out ways in which to identify your gifts,
Okay.
and that goes by detoxing the mind. I'll give you all of the tools, the questions I ask, and then hopefully whenever something comes up, you can use them yourself. And
Yeah.
then we'll get to your potential, um, helping you l- embrace your potential. And that's the piece that's usually forgotten. How do we do that? Well, once you love yourself and you respect yourself and you make time for yourself, then you know you can do anything because now you're self confident. So
Yes.
even if you're working on something that may not go where you wanted it to go, you've learned something and you're going to be
Yes.
grateful for it. And those are recurring skills that I say I transfer to you, because once we go through the process, every single time, I mean, there are many times in life, even though we have come a long way, where we still find challenges. And instead of bending down or falling down because of a challenge, we recall, oh, hold on, take a breath, take time for myself, ask for some advice, write this down, get all the clutter out of my head so you know the steps from that
Okay.
time forward. And that's what I mean by transferring skills. And I believe it's a revolution. Number one, because of the way that I see the world. And
Yes.
number two, because I'm trying to put myself out of business. And within minutes or seconds, I usually know when a person, or when I work with a team of leaders, what the issues are. And I will not tell you what the issue is, because then you don't learn anything. That's the easiest way for me to put it. That's the
Right.
teacher in me. If I give you the answer, you haven't learned it. So I guide you with questions, and those questions you take with you for the next time something happens. And that's why I think it's really revolutionary. I'm always bending the rules a little bit and just trying to be
Yeah.
sure that we're all respected and loved.
Wow. It was a beautiful insight having you here and knowing those amazing insight that how we can change ourselves and liberate our lives that hold us back. Thank you so much, Dr. Natali, for being here with us and our viewers, giving such beautiful insight about your own revolution, which you're just bringing to the nation. And we are glad that we could have that time from you. And we have become so lucky that she's giving us a freebie, the journal, right? Can you just give me a few things, let us know what is it all about?
It is actually the first steps to detoxing your mind and understanding what is in there. It's just
Okay.
a 3-page little journal that asks you questions to help you understand this is where I am right now, who's responsible for all of that, and what
Okay.
next. Very straightforward.
Wow, how did we get so lucky to just uncover the subconscious mind? Thank you so much, Doctor, out here. And I'm so much grateful for you, your time. And thank you, listeners, for having us over here, listening to us. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.